What is going on, everybody? I hope you're having a great morning. My name is Bleaves. We're here to talk about this crazy crypto world, and the state of the crypto world right now is Pump City. Crypto up another $90 billion today. Fear and Greed Index probably going to reflect that over the next couple of days. Probably a great time to buy right now. Doesn't mean that there won't be some more downward pressure. Goldman Sachs is predicting a crypto crash because of the US-Iran tensions. So there's a lot to unpack here. We're going to get into all that and more. It's not financial advice, but I'm always right. Oh yeah, and that was the bear stuff.
It's your boy Bleaves. Everybody listen up. Let's get it. I'm trying to put money in your pocket, that crypto wallet, that bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
All right, so the AI on that video, to me, now that I look at it, just seems so old and outdated. We're gonna have to do something about that, but I have my brother right now working on, not a new song, but my brother's a DJ, and he's working on kind of jazzing up the intro song. So once that's done, we're gonna do some all new. We're gonna do an all new entrance video. I know I keep putting it off. I've been putting it off for months, but you know, it's my show. Whatever. I'm not a nerd. You're a nerd. You nerd. Anyway, what's going on? Good morning to Know I'm Saying. Jordan's Toolbelt, good morning. Steve Merck, good morning. Stefan Crypto, good morning. Jay Manuel, good morning. Operation Shutdown, what is going on? So, yeah, best intro ever. I let them know. They know that it is. They know that they got it. They absolutely, they absolutely loved making the song. Especially because I just lean into stupidity, like always being right. Speaking of always being right, Donald Trump, is he right? Is he right? I don't know. But here's what happened. This is great. This really is great for crypto. This is great for everybody involved. Let's break it down. First of all, Donald Trump tells Congress to pass the crypto market bill ASAP. He's now giving an order here that they need to get their stuff together. And then he blasts the banks for stalling. This is what we've been looking for. This is what the American people have been waiting for. The spine. They've been waiting for Donald Trump to finally show a little backbone with banks. That's really where we're at, right? And what he said is he warned that banks are undermining both the Genius and Clarity Act, urging them to strike a deal, even going so far as to talk some smack about Jamie Dimon. And a senior executive at TD Cowen suggested banks may soon lose the stablecoin yield battle. In a Truth Social post, Congress to fast-track crypto market bill. This is from Eric Trump. And Eric, look, say what you want. Eric Trump is in charge of World Liberty Financial, so we have to at least respect and honor his opinion on it. And he says, in parroting his father, who said the Genius Act is being threatened and undermined by the banks, and that is unacceptable. We are not going to allow it. The U.S. needs to get market structure done ASAP. Americans should earn more money on their money. The banks are hitting record profits, and we are not going to allow them to undermine our powerful crypto agenda that will end up going to China and other countries if we don't get the Clarity Act taken care of. Now, the banks are hitting record profits. Americans should earn more money on their money. And what is it that the banks do not want to pay? They don't want to give you interest on savings. They want you to give them $1 million for them to loan out to somebody else, and then they're going to give you a pittance. By the way, did you know that if you gave the bank right now, most banks, not all, but most banks, if you gave them $1 million right now, they would give you back between $5,000 and $10,000 in a year? It used to be that if you were a millionaire You could put $1 million into a bank and you could live off of the interest. Now, that is a simplified way because it doesn't account for the stock market. But as the banks motivated people to get into investing, which is more lucrative and also more devastating if it doesn't go the way that you want, then you could make far more than 5% interest. So interest rates ended up disappearing and evaporating. Donald Trump is talking about that and pointing out that they're not playing the game fairly, and they're now saying, "Woe is me, Mr. Trump, we're not going to be able to survive if everybody takes their money out." The Genius Act was the USA's first big step to make United States the crypto capital of the world. And getting the Clarity Act done is the next step to finish the job and, most importantly, keep this big, powerful industry in our country. The banks should not be trying to undercut the Genius Act or hold the Clarity Act hostage. They need to make a good deal with the crypto industry because that's what in the best interest of the American people. The industry cannot be taken from the people of America when it's so close to truly becoming successful. Then you have Eric Trump coming in and saying the big banks, the very institutions that have held a monopoly and screwed their customers for years, are offering near zero yields on retail money market accounts while crushing low balance accounts with exorbitant fees. You ever had a fee for doing something? If you go take out $20 from your, if you take out $20 cash from a bank, it's like $3 to $5 for the transaction. They're now doing everything they can to block the crypto industry from offering real benefits, perks, and rewards on their platforms. So I did, by the way, reply to this and said the smart money should be on giving the banking charters to Coinbase, Ripple, World Liberty Financial, and CryptoCom, and then going back to the table after they publicly announce lending and borrowing initiatives, meaning that you can then use stablecoin through these banks, through these regulated and chartered banks, to borrow and buy a house, to do whatever you need to do from a quote-unquote local bank with far reduced fees compared to what these banks are charging. Ta-da! We've just solved finance, and the banks do not like this. So it's going to be very interesting and very telling over the next couple of days to see exactly what happens with the banking industry. However, despite Trump's new stance on the issue, the stalled crypto market bill is unlikely to have the necessary votes in the Senate unless there's a resolution to the stablecoin yield fight that the banks are satisfied with. The banks are holding our government hostage right now. And it is right now upon Donald Trump to be pointing this out to people. If you want to be in government, if you want to be elected, if you want blah, 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 work for the people. Work for the people, not the big businesses. And that's what he's trying to see happen. And by the way, I've had my problems with Donald Trump, but I fully support this idea because I think what the banks are trying to do right now is seedy and shady and disgusting. Also, Stephen Moran from the Fed has said at the moment, I see it appropriate to continue cutting, meaning that the Fed members who are voting, that are not voting for cuts, it's not going to be Stephen Moran, because he supports continuing to cut rates until neutral. So what he's saying is he supports 25 basis points. In fact, there is another thread talking about this from Moran that happened just a little while ago, where he also said, and it goes back just a little bit because this happened just a few moments ago, and Financial Juice is really going crazy about the news right now. As a matter of fact, we'll do a quick roll through to get this kind of cleared up here. But Moran says, I prefer to move 25 basis point cuts until we get to neutral, then reevaluate. At the moment, I see it appropriate to continue cutting. Layoffs at Block are indicative of what could be coming, but it's just one company. The Fed should accommodate the AI jobs transition with easier monetary policy. I don't think credit issues warrant a change in monetary policy. I've not talked to Trump since resigning as chair of the CEA. So he's very clear on this, and he believes that it is time and appropriate for the Fed to continue rate cuttings. Now, on to the news that should scare everybody. Qatar is going to need 2 weeks to restart gas liquefaction after a full shutdown. Iran to target Israeli embassies if Israel attacks the Iranian embassy in Beirut. By the way, remember, Israel is now attacking Hezbollah in Beirut, Lebanon. And now, there's always an Israeli missile that accidentally hits the intended target. You know what I'm talking about. So Iran is saying, look, we're going to start bombing you everywhere if you hit our embassy. So sirens have been sounded in Bahrain. The European Union expects to be exempt from the U.S. universal tariff boost of 15%. We'll see whether or not that happens. There you go. The European Union expects the United States to not raise its universal tariff on the bloc to 15%, despite Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's statement that the higher rate would likely take effect this week. So we'll see whether that happens or not. Effective Fed funds rate 3.64 versus 3.64. That's not good, by the way. That's still pretty elevated. UK warships will not be deployed to Cyprus until next week. And we are pretty much caught up here. China will send its special envoy to the Middle East issue to regional countries to conduct mediation efforts. Oman is getting reports of a cargo ship coming under fire. And that's in the Straits of Hormuz, a ship under fire near the Strait of Hormuz. So, and it could also be, by the way, that you didn't pay your insurance. Remember, Donald Trump has offered to navigate you through the Straits of Hormuz and retaliate to anybody in Iran that attacks these vessels. So, yeah. Iran also denies military, the intelligence ministry reached out to the CIA for talks. The Deutsche Bank says they no longer phase of volatility. I expect a longer phase of volatility due to the war. And by the way, if you've not seen Mark Wayne Mullen dumbify himself, it is absolutely magnifique to see. Donald Trump calls it a war. Marco Rubio calls it a war. Mark Wayne Mullen was asked about the war. He said, well, it's not a war, it's a conflict. And the lady said, sir, you just said that it was a war. And he goes, well, I misspoken it. And I mean, he didn't even say it in English. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable because he was trying to, I don't know what he was trying to do. The administration just calls it a war. They you know, and look, it does take a declaration from Congress for it to be an actual war, but using the word doesn't hurt anything but your feelings. So the fact that he's defending it was just comical. He should put grease paint on his face before he talks. Like, unbelievable. What a nerd. Oh my God. That's the guy who wanted to fight somebody, by the way, in Congress one time. He's like, you want to brawl, bro? And the guy was like, yeah, I really want this. Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. You want to step outside right now, we can go. And he was like, well, you know, I'll just you blah, 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 yippee-ki-yay, and all that. You know, whatever the hell Mark Wayne Mullen says. Who names their kid Mark Wayne? Are you kidding me? Oh, my God. Like, his name is Mark Wayne Dominic Mysterio Mullins. Like, what? All right, so anyway, the bull market will resume when Bhutan starts mining and holding again. And guess what? It appears they have finished selling. And this is one of the largest mining operations in the country. And they have started to hodl again. They're no longer selling for profit. So the fact that they're doing that means that their capital is high, which means that they have right now an opportunity to help this market instead of keep dunking on the market. So if their finances are secure, that means the sell pressure is over. Remember, the mining companies, they try to sell as high as they can, but they have to make profit at a certain region, a certain level. Right now, it's around $70,000. What is the effective price for Bitcoin mining per Bitcoin right now? Oh, God, we want to do it in AI. We do not want to just... All right, so production cost, there we go. Production cost is near 87,000 right now for one Bitcoin. For high efficiency operators, it's as low as 39, while others are around 49. So some of them are going to be fine, but some of the older hardware has climbed above $100,000 for some of the models. And these are older systems, and they still exist out there. So but the median right here between 69 and 74. So everybody's kind of at break-even price at best. A few of them might be in profit if they're newer, but some of these older guys, some of these older big companies, they're feeling it. So, but this is a great sign when you have people stop selling. And then finally, Goldman Sachs CEO predicts weeks of crypto market crash as the U.S.-Iran war continues. David Solomon said on Wednesday that he was surprised at the benign reaction to financial markets to the conflict in the Middle East, and that it may take a couple of weeks to fully digest the effects. This is particularly interesting, seeing that the start of the U.S.-Iran war triggered a crypto market crash. This saw billions of investments liquidated. However, he downplayed the effect. He says, I look at the market reaction. I'm actually surprised that the market reaction has been more benign given the magnitude of this as you might think. Now, the reason this is a problem is because people seem to be ignoring what's going on. If they're ignoring what's going on, the end result of this is going to be supply shock. Much of the market move is driven by oil prices and whether oil can flow freely through the Straits of Hormuz after Iran's closure. Now, that is also not nearly as difficult a process as we already think, because the United States is the #1 producer of oil again, and Venezuela is being controlled by the United States. So what are you seeing happen right now? What you're seeing happen right now is you're seeing light crude continue at a elevated fashion, but not increasingly elevated. You're not seeing the absolute insanity. And look, you've seen absolute insanity compared to right now. Look at the differential here. You're seeing there are moments in time here where you start to see just absolute insane runs on oil prices. And when you see crazy stuff like that, has to be something massive going on, right? Well, and we can also say this. The last time this started, it went from where we were right now, and then over days and days and days and days continued to climb. So looking at it from that perspective, we could see this continued move, but we're not feeling it right now. The markets are not feeling this big necessity right now for oil. Again, the U.S. controls Venezuela at the moment, and the U.S. is one of the largest manufacturers of crude oil in the world, which means that we can absorb some of the difficulties, at least Western nations, that are being experienced in the Straits of Hormuz, and then provide security. The United States military is now offering to provide security through an insurance policy that will have in order to get your tanker through the Straits of Hormuz, the United States will help you and will retaliate for you and defend you in these waters as you go through. And if Iran attacks, the United States will bomb the living shit out of him. So, and look, if you make that claim, you better be ready to back it up. So I'm just waiting now for that first little conflict to play out, and it'll be fascinating. But if it plays out to the U.S.'s advantage and that ship is not sunk, then guess what? These prices are going to continue to rally to the downside. So we're going to be watching to see what happens here. It's going to be very, very interesting how this all plays out. But again, you should be a little bit nervous. Now let's look at our favorite cryptos here. The reason, by the way, when I talk about my favorite cryptos, obviously Definity's on the list. When I talk about my favorite cryptos, obviously there are certain ones that are on the list that are not showing right here. And that's because Rand Nooner's Bubble Banter place only does the top 1,000 cryptos. So if you're ranked outside of the top 1,000, then you are not on the list. But I did go, by the way, full disclosure, I went long on Tau, and I'm up really good right now. But I meant to go longer on Tau last night and accidentally bought Midnight instead. And Midnight is up 4% as well. So it ended up being a good decision. I was 5x on both of them. So I'm up about 45% right now on Tau, and I'm up about 20% on Midnight. Again, I didn't mean for it to be Tau. I didn't mean for it to be this one. But moving on here. Arrow is up 15%. Ooh, you know what? I forgot one right here that I wanted to keep track of, and that was Pendle. So we want to take Pendle here. We want to pop them up into favorites right there. There we go. Pendle's up 3.6%. So across the board here, we got Solana up 10%. By the way, remember I told you I hold 53 Solana, so this is a good day right now. As a matter of fact, and don't forget, I bought it at. Hold on, let's see. I bought it at 86.46, and it's currently trading at 91.61 right now. So $5 per, so $2,500. Yeah, $2,728. Nice. All right, so it was a good day for Solana, up 10% on the day. Zebek Network up 5%. Render up 8%. Ondo 9%. Algo 4.5%. Terra Luna Classic not really moving a lot. Bitcoin up 8%. ICP up 7.5%. Link up 7%. Knight up 3%. Arrow. Jupiter up 12.3%. Jupiter up a lot since they decided to not pay out this year. So I don't know how that plays out. I don't know what people get, but it protects the price. So can't be too mad at it. Zcash up 11%. SWI up 7%. Uniswap up 6%. BNB up 5%. And Ethereum clocking in up 8%. Stacks, we keep Stacks on the radar because I really like Stacks and I do want it to be, I think Stacks is a good one. That is the smart contract layer for building on the Bitcoin blockchain. So each one of these represents something for me. So it's a good day overall, a very good day overall. And then the inflows or outflows on the ETFs yesterday, we had 225 million for Bitcoin in inflows. For Ethereum, we had outflows totaling 10.8 million. For Solana, we had inflows totaling 700,000. And for XRP, what? Another inflow day, he says, out loud where people can hear. Yeah, another inflow day. 7.5 million in inflows for XRP. Fear and Greed Index back down to 9 from 15 the day before, but let's see if we can look at this on the week here and see. Boom, 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 boom. It's looking like it wants to break out. Yesterday was 15. Day before that, it was down here to these lows. It's bouncing at 9. By the way, looks like Fibonacci. Looks like a Fibonacci bounce from 15 down to 10 or 9. And that's the 618, by the way. And if that bounces, then we could be seeing a breakout happening real time. Liquidity, not working today. The market is now up $108 billion. The reverse of what you wanted to see happen or what you thought was going to happen is happening right now. Total market cap starting to claw its way back. And what did I tell you? 2.57 trillion is our next number right there at the 50 MA. That is $150 billion more dollars flowing in if it does over the next couple of days. And if that is the case, then we'll see a tiny rejection off of that. And we'll look at it from the impulse move right here up into this range. And we'll look for a drawback down to about 2.36 trillion, a little bit lower than where we are right now. We'll look for that correction. But if you go around and you start talking to people, you start looking at people, then guess what? They're looking at Bitcoin having a breakout. And by the way, where did I give you the breakout zone that that I said we were going to? And I'm going to point out somebody who was right, by the way. They've got me blocked, but I'm going to point out somebody who was right, by the way. So I told you yesterday that I thought we're going to have the breakout right here, right? Well, we are having the breakout right here, right now. Where do we go? And the answer to that is 86,297. Now, we could end up in any zone of that range. It's really not, it's not that way right there. It's more like, you know, maybe up through the top here, 92,000, right down to, let's call it around 84, maybe 83, maybe. Let's just do 81 right there and say that that box right there is a very big area of interest for Bitcoin right now because that's that trending volume from the last dip we had right there. So looking for that wick. If we do, then that means that there's going to be an impulse move for the next little while, taking us up to this range. And then somewhere in here, which is where all of this volume is right there, that's where we would experience that rejection. So we look at it over a couple of days. I think we're going to see a move up into this range, and then we're going to see, again, Fibonacci say that we break back down into this 74, 75,000 range. And by the way, that does mean we could end up dumping and going much lower. So looking at the structure of the chart, what I'm telling you happened is from the bottom of the range, which is right here. So just to give you an idea, we're talking about rejection right here. or rejection right here in this range right here and coming back down. If we do that, the rejection came over here in that spot right there, and we went lower. So if we do the same thing and we spike up here, we could be heading lower. So this could just be a bull trap that we're looking at long term. I don't think that it is. I think it's a reversal in the market, but the sellers being tired doesn't mean the sellers aren't going to be tired or aren't going to be woken back up at 80,000. So it's going to take a little while for us to see exactly what happens right there. I don't know how this is going to play out, but right now looking pretty good. Looking pretty good for a big reversal. Market is now up $124 billion on the day and continuing to soar. The U.S. market is on the, let's say, clock. And what's happening? Jane Street. Do you see it yet? What's happening now? Jane Street is no longer dumping into the market. And guess what's happening? We're starting to see the pumps. We're starting to see the reversal. Does it maintain? I don't know. We're still early. And then finally, 24-hour market cap over here, 4.4 billion, and then two more, so it's 6.4 billion. Still not a lot of trade volume here. Whatever is happening right now is institutional grade. It is not retail coming back to the arena, but Solana still the king at 2.54 billion. Solana being the king does to me mean that I expect to see a breakout from Solana. Solana having a nice run right now, but again, the breakout is what we're looking for. We're looking to see an actual, real, full-on explosive move. Give me some of that big heat like we got over here, where we got those amazing runs right here from 75 all the way up to 92. We're already at 92, by the way. So in the event that we go upwards, where could we look for a rejection? Right here, $93. Like it could surge to $93 and above in the next little while, and we'd be looking at that saying, well, that's actually exactly what we expect to happen. So good to see it. Now, if it gets good and it gets interesting, then where do we go? And that's going to be $117. What we're looking at for that is probably a rejection off of, let's get rid of 105 here. We're probably looking at a rejection off of the 50 MA, but it could be a short rejection right there at around $100. But right there at $117, $118, again, this is where the wick from the previous cycle, and by cycle, I do mean a matter of days. These cycles are small, but that's the low pivot from that last range. So I would say that we're probably headed to that range right now, $117. So I'm going to hold on to my Solana for a little bit longer and see how this thing runs, and fingers crossed that it ends up being a big one. Also today, I will be interviewing Tom Anderson, if you didn't know. And also Terra and Terra Casino are sponsors of the channel again. So we'll be talking about them a little bit more going forward. I told them to give me 1 day to get everything ready. For the rest of the market, Ethereum is at 2134, breaking where? Breaking to the top of the range. Is it going to break out above the range? Well, we're up $129 billion on the day. How high can we actually go? I don't know the answer to that, but we're seeing the 50 MA really becoming a target. So we could see some movement over the next few days. I don't know if it's going to sustain, but again, it does look like we're in that upward trajectory. Again, same thing. If you look at this one the same way, it's the same thing. If you look at XRP, it's the same thing. So I suspect it's looking like we're ready for that move. So maybe we'll see that. Right now, $201 for BitTensor. For ICP, that's checking in at $2.82. I did not get back into BitTensor, into ICP, and it's driving me crazy. Every moment I look at ICP, I get furious because I did not, like yesterday, I talked about it and I said, let's get some, and son of a bitch, I didn't. So Avalanche a move to $10.29. Trump a move back up to $4. NEAR has already broken above the 50 MA, so fair warning. If we do get a continuation rally on this, NEAR protocol probably has another leg up, and because it's moving very well and very rapidly, it also has that opportunity to be, it has an opportunity to be, just move really big. Like it has an opportunity to break out. We're seeing a lot more, when you're crossing the 50 MA while the rest of the market's struggling to get to that 50 MA, then you're bullish. So Near looks like one that's about to break out. Maybe it even runs up to the 200 MA, which is almost $2 right now. Ondo. Ondo 2 looks like 29 cents. Not breaking out very much right there. Pendle back to $1.51. SWE to $1.16. Dev to 8.8 cents on a breakout. I don't think Dev's going to break out, by the way. I'm doing the show with Tom Anderson today, but I don't think that it's time because there's still too much unknown that we're waiting for from Tom. What we're watching right now is that sort of liquidity decline because that volatility that we were experiencing over here, which made it favorable for everybody to trade in that range right there, has kind of died down. Liquidity is an issue, so you got to wait to see what happens there. Definity up 8%, 9% now on the day, with a goal of 12.748 cents on the 50 MA. So again, everything looking like it's ready to hit. The midnight is above the 50 MA. Again, I entered, I got in at like 5.9 cents. So shout out to me. Cardano looks like 30 cents. API 3, 34 cents. BNB, $730. Could be seeing a nice little breakout on BNB. BNB hasn't been performing very well. Look at that dump and decline. Like, it really hasn't caught that that volatility window. Compare it to Bitcoin over here, and it looks pretty similar, but you've got that breakout on Bitcoin happening right now, but you're not feeling it on BNB the same way, which means that maybe it's lost a little favorite in the eyes of investors for the moment. Luna Classic reversing right now, heading to that next 54.41 move. USTC, I don't think that's going to move. Fias kind of sitting. Fias is still stuck in a range that I can't bring myself to buy any right now because it's not back down to a penny. If it goes back down to a penny, then it becomes a buy. But at 1.6 cents, because I don't know what the upswing I don't know what the upswing range is going to be. When funding comes through, then maybe that changes. But for right now, I don't think so. I'm not really sure how that plays out. MK reversing back up to 9 cents after this dump. This was catastrophic. This was a one big buyer who came in and then dumped on the chart. And fine, whatever, but it seems like it's rebuilding. So now the question is, can they take advantage of this with the normie tool and turn it into something more? And if they do, can we get this continuation move up here? With that continuation move, it goes to my next target. That next target was 32 cents for MK. So I do think that we're going to see, it seems obvious at this point that over the next little while, probably going to get a move to 33 cents, matching the all-time high for MK. It looks like it's in the cards right now, but it is a meme coin, despite the fact that it does have the normie tool as some utility. But again, it's still until it really gets some fundamental revenue generation. Just like everything else, it's a speculative asset. So, but I think that a nice move up there into that 32 cent range would be on tap, and it could happen very, very quickly. World Liberty, still not seeing it right now. It's at 13 cents is the next zone. That's about a 30% increase, but you look at it on the chart, you're just not feeling it, right? You're just not feeling. The rest of the market is kind of moving a little bit better. Arrow having the big breakout today. Again, this may change. Gold, 51.65, down a little bit on the day, and silver doing the same thing as gold. Moving down to a few more. Pepe up 6%, VeChain up 5%, Zcash up 7.5%, Syrup, Maple is up 7.5%. That's Maple Finance. OM is not moving at all, but it is above the 50 MA, oddly enough. HBAR above the 50 MA. Aave above the 50 MA. Algo above. Arbitrum above. Assemble above. Ether is way above. It's above the 200. Ether is about to have a golden cross play out. Atom is above. Avantis is below. Band is above. Bonk is above. Brett is above the 50 MA. Centrifuge is breaking out above. Centrifuge, remember, it did have that big breakout the other day. It's got me nervous because it's because it's been so volatile. Like if you miss that impulse move, you know what I mean? Nah. Crow, boy, Crow, what a catastrophic dump that ended up being. Like, it's even worse than it was back in the bear market. Just for, I'm so glad I don't hold that anymore. Jupiter Monad is up 11.5% on the day, and there's a bunch of other ones that are out there. CLU, XCL, I don't know what happened to XCL. Let's go look at that over here on Exceller. Let's see what happened here. Nothing. It's having a nice little surge to recapture some of that. Oh, that's not much. No, let's look at this on the hourly. Yeah, there's not much movement there. All right, so we're not missing anything with Exceller. Exceller is at the bottom. Huh. I wonder if Austin's still talking about him. Anyway. All right, guys. Just in Time says, sup, Bleaves. I watched the Glitterball City murder show you mentioned. It was good. Yeah, except that one part when the dude who, you know, wink, wink, we all know he did it. Except when they were doing the scene that played out in court, like, gross. Ugh. You know what I mean? Like, get your chocolate out of my peanut butter, dude. Like, ugh. That shit was gross. It was gross. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But other than that, it was hilarious. And J Manuel says you should do Bleaves 182 again. We're going to mix that in here somewhere. Probably make that like an outro video because I miss that song. I actually really do miss that song. So anyway, that's going to be the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, it's not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm here for entertainment, to try to entertain you guys, tell you what I think. Once I tell you what I think, it is upon you to go look at the markets and decide for yourself, is this working for you? Do I agree with what Bleaves is saying, or is Bleaves out of his mind? Because sometimes I'm out of my mind. Sometimes I look at stuff and I see patterns that emerge, and those patterns don't play out, and I get frustrated and annoyed because they don't. But then other times I look at them and I'm like, wow, you know what? It actually is playing out. So it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. All I'm doing is astrology for bros. So don't take me as a financial advisor ever. All right? All right, so that's it. That's the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you like the Chicago Bears, then you can go to my Chicago Bears content. That is Bleaves in Chicago, and it's this right here. So if you are looking, that's the Bears stuff. And we got some big Bears content coming out today. Anyway, and also, again, the T-shirts are coming. I hope you guys will buy some T-shirts, because that'll be kind of cool. Remember, my one big logo over here, which was Bears Scene, the one on the bottom right over there, there's jerseys that are available right now and T-shirts that are available with Bleaves. It says Bleaves Crypto, so the new stuff is going to be out very, very soon. So you should go check it out. You should go check it out. Anyway, that's going to be the show. Oh, and track my trades if you haven't already. Go track